Welcome to the lABLEd podcast, a show about disability, illness and difference.
And history.
I'm Lucy.
And I'm Alice.
I'm Daisy.
So much more than what you see. We all live our lives differently. Kaleidoscope identity. And this is who I'm meant to be. I'm just labelled me. I'm just labelled me.
In this episode, along with Lucy crying and Alice swearing, there's going to be a number of historical terms for disability that are now considered extremely offensive.
Hello and welcome to a brand new season of the lABLEd podcast, your favourite disability, illness and difference podcast. I am Alice and I am here with Lucy.
Hello.
And we are also here with Daisy.
Hello.
And so that means we're going to be doing a history lesson today.
Woohoo,
so
our favourite.
it is exciting. We're all super tired, and so we're going to have to fake it till we make it with the excitement. But I'm looking forward to what's probably going to be a difficult and depressing episode, but it will be interesting nonetheless. This is an episode that we're doing sort of inspired by the episode that Lucy and I recorded at NADEX earlier this year. Lucy, do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about that episode? Because it's going out as our bonus content for those of you who weren't there.
So we got invited to be sort of like a guest podcast for the 2-day event at NADEX, which I found hilarious. Because we're just winging this, aren't we? Really, to be honest, to a certain extent. But yeah, so they wanted us to like, sort of do a kind of loose women style show. And both me and Alice were like, no, we don't do that sort of thing, really. But we do history lessons. No, we do fables. That was it, fable. And we were going to talk about Joseph Merrick, because of the Elephant Man, and also Sebastian Stan in A Different Man. So we covered both of those films together
in 45 minutes, which Lucy, or 40 minutes even, and Lucy and I were just the whole time like, we've never had to be so succinct and like cram stuff in.
I got my iPad with the script on, like, and Alice kept looking at me like, are we to time? I was like, yes, we're fine. So we did have a slight audience. There were some people that just sat down and had a sandwich while we were talking, so I don't actually know if they were listening. But so then we decided that we're going to use that as bonus content, and then have the history lesson.
And off the back of that, we bullied Daisy into putting together a history lesson about the real Elephant Man.
Oh, you don't have to bully me to do that. You just have to remind me frequently. Sort of once every 4 days, kind of remember that thing you committed to.
One thing I will say, though, about the bonus content is we've just discussed it. We were about to sort of start our spiel, and Adam ran over, almost crawled
set
over.
us all up, hadn't he? Yeah.
Almost crawled over on his hands and knees to push the button that turned the machine on.
To press record, because it was really funny because he'd gone, oh, I'm really pleased with myself. I got that all set up and ready with loads of time to spare.
Yeah.
Went, sat down, settled
I was talking to my mom, just happily chatting away.
Yeah. And then suddenly, like, his pants are on fire.
And I'm looking at him thinking, why has he got that panic look on his face? Because we were starting to get into full flow. So the beginning of the episode is somewhat chaotic.
It's a different level of confidence that has to, because for me, if I was doing something like that and I completed all of my tasks much earlier than expected, my immediate response would be, oh God, what have I forgotten?
Why have I got nothing to do?
Yeah, I should be running around right now doing something.
Exactly.
There's something I've missed.
I like that.
I admire him that he has enough confidence in his abilities, just be like, yeah.
But luckily, it's like the first.
I'm just that good.
It's like the first 30 seconds to a minute.
It's not even that, I don't think.
So we're fine.
Yeah.
We're all right.
It's not like he had to run across a crowded theatre to get to
No,
us.
Alice,
so.
that's what you tell people. He heroically ran through the crowd.
He jumped from the private box into a chandelier.
Yeah, exactly.
Phantom of the Opera style.
So yes, so there we go. So it inspired this history lesson about Joseph Merrick. The one thing I will say before I hand over to you, Daisy, is for some reason in the film he's called John, and in real life he's called Joe.
Yes.
I keep forgetting which way round it is, so I've just been calling him the Elephant Man, but feeling super uncomfortable about that as well. So
I don't know why they changed his name. I don't know.
We may find out.
Yes, it does feature, but like right at the end.
That's fine.
So, do you want spoilers?
I was going to say, how important is it?
No, hang on till the end of the episode.
I mean, it's quite frankly, it's not a good story.
Okay.
It's the guy who wrote the book that the thing is based on called him John. No one really knows why.
Oh, okay.
Had he
Based
just
on his
forgotten
vibe, I'm assuming that he just either forgot or didn't think it was important or like misheard him.
I like that. It's, your main character's first name. It's not important.
It's like that's like somebody mistaking my name for Louise, and when my name is Lucy.
Well, I mean, it's just like everybody is talking about this fantastic new book that they were reading in the early noughties called Henry Potter.
Yeah,
That's not what was happening.
I'm like in some alternate universe.
Yeah.
If I was feeling charitable, I would suggest that maybe he deliberately changed the name so that it wouldn't be so intrusive.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
However,
sure.
I don't think I believe that,
Okay.
given what I've read about him.
Okay.
Well, why don't you tell us what you've read about him, Daisy?
Well, that will come later. Well, no. All of the things that I've read about him come now. The things I've read about that guy is later.
Alice, I understood what you were trying to do.
I was trying to segue, and it's fine. It's fine. I don't think they encourage disabled people to use segues, so.
Okay, Daisy,
Right,
I'm going to shut up now. Off you go.
Okay. So, his middle name was Carey, of all things. Joseph Carey Merrick, supposedly. So he's born in 1962, on the 5th of August, in Leicester.
Hang on.
I honestly, I thought this was like.
He was born in
like pre-war.
1962.
1862.
That sounds better.
I was very confused as to why you would consider 1862 not pre-war. I was like, is there a point where it's just sort of too early to be considered pre-war? So I guess like the Ice Age is technically pre-war, but
Stop it. I'm going to lose it in a minute. We're not even 10 minutes in. Oh, God. Right.
that was the first bullet point.
Strap in, everyone.
So he was the eldest. He had 2 siblings. A brother who died when he was 4 of scarlet fever, and a sister who had physical disabilities that they have not expanded on in any capacity.
Right.
Excellent.
Who died when she was 23. But apparently if you look at his mother's headstone, it says there was another child, and nobody knows
Who?
where the 4th child came
Right,
from.
okay.
I think a lot of people have assumed it was a mistake, but that seems unlikely.
I mean, 1860s England also is a bit like there could have been one and it only lived for a couple of days. Like it was not a great time to be an infant.
No.
Yeah, quite possibly something like that. Because his mother died relatively early, so it's not like this headstone was being made by people far removed from the events who wouldn't have known.
It's true.
So yeah,
but then,
it's quite possibly something like that. Something like a baby sadly died, or
when you're at the point of having your headstone made, most people aren't generally around to correct mistakes either. So
That's true. Yeah. So yeah, he seemed to be perfectly healthy as a baby. It was only when he was 5-ish that he started developing more visible problems. Supposedly a bit earlier than that, kind of like 21 months, according to a letter that somebody sent to a local newspaper that seemed to have some like intimate connection with the family in a way that no one can really prove, but everyone kind of goes, well, that it sounds legit.
I thought you were going to say
that's
in a
the
letter
source.
sent to the doctor. No, a letter sent to the newspaper.
It was in like 1930. Someone sent a letter to like the Leicester Mercury and was like, by the way. I'm assuming there must have been a bigger purpose for it than just by the way.
by the way,
My relative, the Elephant Man,
Yeah.
actually developed swellings on his lips as a toddler. And the
I
Leicester
see.
Mercury went, brilliant, print it.
Thanks, guys.
it's local news for you.
Slow news day.
That's a good point. If it was like Reach PLC today, they would not only be publishing that in Leicester, they would be publishing it all over the
It'd
country.
be on
in
Midlands
all of their
Today,
other
wouldn't it? Like
newspapers.
total.
Yeah.
Have I ever told you the story of when I moved up from North London to Loughborough in deepest, darkest Leicestershire, the two conflicting headlines in our local papers from like the week that we moved. So the week we moved, for my local paper in North London, the headline story was about a man who chased another man down Blackstock Road with a machete.
Nice.
And the headline in the Loughborough Echo was about a man who called the fire brigade out because he thought his cat was stuck in his chimney, but he'd actually accidentally shut him in a drawer.
Welcome to Leicester.
Is that representative?
I mean, within 3 months of me moving here, we did begin to find the remains of a 14-year-old boy that had been scattered around the local area.
Holy moly.
Oh.
Yeah, I was a bit like, can I go back to North London, please?
Yeah, there was a time when I was living in Bath where they kept finding feet.
Feet is upsetting because there's a lot of other bits left after feet are gone.
Yeah, but it was always only feet. There were never any other bits. It was like multiple right feet as well. Where did these come from? For a while there was like a theory by some people that it was like in the sort of crematorium bit of the hospital where they would, dispose of amputated limbs and things like that. Yeah. That it was somehow shooting feet out of the chimney. So do you genuinely believe that's what's happening here?
That's unbelievable. Have you noticed as well that local news do like to tie in their news with the national news? Like if something's happening.
Yeah.
As if to try and make it seem more legitimate.
Yeah, it's like, find me a local angle. I must have a local angle about, Donald Trump's visit. We speak to the helicopter pilot who's actually from Birmingham.
Yeah. We speak to Donna Trump, who lives in Scunthorpe.
Yeah.
Damn, your areas must be doing all right. I mean, around here they don't have enough local journalists to even be able to do that. It's just, we'll just take the news that was somewhere else and just publish it here as well.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, basically.
So, back to, we are not even at school age.
Yeah, sorry, did you want to move on to bullet point 3? So, yes, as well as the little swellings on his lip that he had when he was a toddler, supposedly he had like a little bit of a lump on his head, but no one really paid like much attention to it because...
I have a toddler, he regularly has lumps on his head.
Exactly.
And you're like, what did you do?
It's quite bumpy.
Yeah. They fall down a lot. There's a lot of unexplained bruising. Just have to hope for the best.
So yeah, so he wrote a bit about his childhood in like a little leaflet thing that accompanied one of his exhibits later in life. How much of this was written by him and how much of it was written by his manager is, hard to say, but it does seem to be like accurate sort of time and people wise, so there's no reason to think why it wouldn't be accurate the rest of the way. But he said that the deformity which I am now exhibiting was caused by my mother being frightened by an elephant.
Oh.
I've heard that.
Hence why the name Elephant Man.
As he said, my mother was going along the street when a procession of animals were passing by. There was a terrible crush of people to see them, and unfortunately she was pushed under the elephant's feet, which frightened her very much.
Yeah, I can get that.
Reasonably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah, this wasn't just, like, you know, part of the show and, you know, the magic of the exhibition and stuff. You know, he really believed this, and it was still very common in this area to believe in. They called it maternal impression.
Yes.
So the idea that, you know, a powerful influence, you know, while someone is pregnant will affect the child.
Yeah.
I mean, you still hear it in people who talk about, you know, refrigerator mothers and autistic children. It's medical misogyny at its best. Just because we're now no longer attributing physical disabilities to stray elephants. Didn't realise we had a lot of those in Leicester in 1862, but
yes,
sure.
They just didn't explain that. They just said there was an elephant in Leicester.
I was going to say, I
okay.
think that's the part of the story that I am most dubious about. I'm just like,
Well, they could have been
Sure.
like a circus, couldn't they? Or something?
Yeah, it has to have been a circus.
Like or like it escaped
zoo.
from the zoo or something.
Yeah.
we don't have a zoo.
Oh, then what's even the point of your tale? No, I'm joking.
All we have is Richard III. That's literally all we've got.
Don't take that off him.
Yeah.
Yeah, York tried.
So, yeah, when he started developing these sort of more visible problems when he was 5, it was basically both of his feet got significantly bigger. Which, you know, to
That also happens as children grow and develop.
which, you know, as a person with very big feet, didn't seem all that unusual to me. But
You've got
then
big feet.
I've got very big feet. I've got size 10 feet.
Have you?
Yeah.
It's quite big, isn't it?
I've got tiny
It is,
feet
yeah.
because I don't stand on them.
That's not why you've got tiny feet. That's not.
Well, yeah, but they're not like
You're
they're not
tiny
fully
generally,
full-
aren't you?
Yeah, yes.
But
Thank you.
yes.
I'm only slightly. I'm smaller than Danny DeVito, which is very upsetting.
Ah.
Yeah. Anyway,
But yeah, no, I'm about like 5'10"-ish.
Right.
well,
Depending on how recently I've seen the osteopath. But yes, I do have very big feet comparatively to my... Because, yeah, like, I'm tall, but I'm not, like, you know, outrageously tall.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Weird,
would have thought maybe like a 7 or an 8, not 10.
Yeah. Yeah. strange.
Anyway,
but they weren't
Anyway.
as big. They're not as big as Joseph Merrick's feet.
I don't know if they had
No.
shoe sizes back then.
Wow.
I don't know, they were probably all a bit more made
And
to measure, weren't they?
So, what kind of shoes did he wear? Like, did they just have to wrap his feet? It's not
I
enough.
can't imagine.
No.
I don't know. I just thought you might have like found that in your research. I don't know. Like, did he used to have to
No,
use
there wa-
potato sacks on his feet?
There wasn't a section about his trip to the cobbler. The only real photos of him that survive are either like portraits which are from the waist up or like the sort of medical photos that were
Yeah.
taken of him where he wasn't really clothed. So I would have a better idea if they'd taken more pictures
His
of him.
skeleton is around, isn't it? So perhaps you can take a measuring tape and go and view a skeleton somewhere loose and just kind of, you know,
Why do
add,
I have
add
to
a
go?
little bit. You're the one who asked the question.
Oh, no, yeah.
Daisy and I don't care what size his feet are.
I imagine it would be the width that would be the problem rather
Yeah.
than the length.
Yeah.
Length.
So I imagine he would have had some like very modified shoes,
Shoe.
but potentially that would have been much easier if most shoes were made to measure anyway.
It was also 1862, so I imagine there was a fuck ton of children without shoes anyway.
Yeah, it's not like they've got a local
Yeah.
branch of Clark's, is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, excuse me, can you measure my foot?
Well, and I think, you know, in those days, your priority was, have I got food on the table, not have my kids got shoes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But yeah, so in addition to his feet, there was a significant size difference between his right and his left arms, which was the big thing. He later said that my feet and legs are covered with thick, lumpy skin, also my body like that of an elephant, and almost the same colour. In fact, no one would believe until they saw it that such a thing could exist. which really pushes on to how you could believe that it was
An elephant.
related to the
Yeah,
elephant.
Yeah.
The colour thing is interesting, isn't it? I guess, you know, was his melanin impacted by, you know, his health condition? Because that's what kind of dictates the colour of your skin, doesn't it?
Maybe I kind of assumed it was like a blood flow.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Or like dead skin cells or something, just collecting.
Yeah,
not
in
going
that
anywhere.
in that sort of way that if you're very cold or not.
You go a bit
know,
blue, don't you?
Yeah.
So I
Frostbite
you can
situation.
see how that could be sort of as grey. Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't help as well that when he was a child he fell and hurt his hip, and that sort of had a permanent effect on his ability to walk. You know, as if there wasn't enough stuff going on to make it more difficult.
Yeah.
He still went to school as any other children, and he eventually left when he was 13, which was like a very normal age to leave school at that time. He was very close to his mother, but I mentioned before that she died in 1873, so he was just
11?
about 10.
Yeah.
His father quickly remarried, as many widowers did at that time.
Yeah.
So quick find a replacement mother.
Yeah.
Yep.
But his new stepmother was much more concerned with her own children, and he tried to run away from home a lot.
Okay.
He said that she having children of her own and I not being so handsome as they, together with my deformity, she was the means of making my life a perfect misery.
Aww.
Which is
That is
sad.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
his
rough.
dad got him a job making cigars.
Okay.
Which, at that point would have been like a, handmade type thing, rolling them all
You
up.
need a reasonable amount of
fancy and
dexterity
stuff.
for that, you'd have thought, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So they described it as delicate work, and he did it for a while, but soon, because his arm kept growing, it became too heavy to be able to do that kind of job. So he spent a while wandering the streets looking for work to try and get away from his stepmother, who was like clearly irritated that he wasn't able to bring any money in, and they were having to support him.
Yeah.
His dad got him a hawker's license, so to going door to door selling things.
Not like a falconry thing then.
No,
was bad.
that would be
great.
great.
Cool.
That would be so great. Damn it! Now I want to be a hawker.
No, but we've established it's not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a hawk. I feel like going door to door selling stuff is not going to be a great option for somebody who needs to crutches and then carrying stuff to be
could you imagine?
Hey, that doesn't seem
so-
like that's going to be up your street, Daisy.
Well, yeah, I could definitely do the bird thing though.
Okay. Well, just
Yeah,
change the definition.
Not what we thought it was.
Yeah.
But I do
yeah,
know
so-
what Daisy's getting for their birthday, so
Yeah. The cat will be thrilled. So yeah, it made going door to door selling things seemed like it made the most sense as an option for getting him work. Because if shops weren't going to hire him and he couldn't do a lot of manual work, but the customers were scared of him and refused to
I thought
answer
you were
the
gonna
door.
say that.
That's just...
And even if they did answer the door, they couldn't understand him a lot of the time because a significant amount of his, I guess, deformity, for lack of a better word, was on his face and around his mouth, and it sort of obscured his speaking.
Oh, that sucks.
That must have felt so hopeless. He must have felt so like he's trying so hard, but all the opportunities that were available to him because of the time period we're talking about, he couldn't. There's nothing really he could do to make himself feel worth. Like he's got some sort of worth. I can't imagine.
He doesn't even have a supportive family at home who appreciate him for who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he moved out of home soon, and he moved in with his uncle who was a barber.
Right.
It's it depends which source you read as to whether he was beaten up and kicked out of his house by his father, or whether he left of his own accord.
Yeah.
But in his account, he said that his uncle was his best and only friend in the time that he was living with his stepmother, and he'd always been sort of, you know, quite supportive and kind even before then. So he stayed there for a few years, but after, you know, when Joseph was about 17, his uncle couldn't afford to support him anymore because he had young children of his own. And so he found himself in the workhouse.
Oh.
The Leicester Union workhouse.
Oh.
After sort of 2 weeks or so, he decided that the workhouse sucked
Yeah.
and that he hated it there.
Yeah.
So he signed himself out and walked around for another 2 full days looking for work.
We talked about workhouses, didn't we, Luce? Is it in the Christmas episode where we did a Christmas Carol?
Yes.
Is that where we talked about that?
Yeah.
They weren't great places.
No. You only went there if you had absolutely no other option. Really.
Yeah, so he failed looking for work again, so he went back to the workhouse and he stayed there for 4 years.
Jeez.
And in his account, he describes this time as being in the infirmary, which is unusual. So as far as I can tell, he was not like classified in the workhouse as, you know, incapable or you know,
Yeah.
sort of like sick and needing of care, so
Yeah, it
would
was
be
more
looked
of a
after in the
deformity
workhouse.
rather than being disabled and ill.
Yeah, like he was considered able to, you know, participate in workhouse activities. Makes it sound like there's, you know, going to be something fun happening, but you know,
They're not all getting together to play Uno.
Yeah, no, like, you know, basically, yeah, he was able to participate in the slave labour.
Yeah.
But it was here that he had an operation to remove some of one of the large growths on his face. And after that, he was able to communicate much better, and people were sort of able to understand him a bit more.
That must have been
I was-
really
I was-
like painful back in like the 18
Well, they wouldn't have had
Oh, yeah,
anesthesia, would
anesthetic
they?
or
They would have had like
Opium?
they would have had like, you know, ether and the what's the one that they put on the
antiseptic.
tissue and
Oh,
chloroform.
chloroform.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sort of stuff like that would make it, you know, better, but not that would, you know, fully conk you out. But I was quite surprised to see that they would do this kind of surgery. It seems more like a quality of life thing, rather than like. I was surprised that the workhouse was willing to spend money to do something like that.
The only thing I would say is, right, I had cataracts removed when I was 20 and 21, which made me a solid 55 years younger than everybody else having the operation in the hospital at that time. And they normally insist that you have local anaesthetic for cataracts. And I said, absolutely not. You're putting me under for this if you want to do this operation. And I am convinced to this day that the only reason they agreed to do the surgery for me under general was because the consultant was like, I want to get a look in her eyes. They'll be
Have
interested.
a really good look.
And
Yes, yeah.
I
Whether it's that
can
sort of
imagine whether there was a like
morbid
almost
curiosity.
for the doctors.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't think of it like that, but that does make sense, particularly given the, you know,
Unusual
later.
nature of
the unusual nature of his thing and what happened later on in his life.
Yeah.
And
that
also, I think
does
there
make
would have been a. I mean, I'm assuming, obviously, but I would have thought there would have been a level of, well, if he dies on the operating table, it's no great loss, which is an awful thing to say, but back in those sorts of that era, it was more of a he's a curiosity, and if something happens to him, then
If we get something out of this, great.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
we lose him,
no great shakes
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, one less person to pay
exactly.
for.
yeah.
Yeah, quite possibly. So once he had that surgery and was able to communicate a bit better, he took that opportunity to try and get out of the workhouse, as you would naturally.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in the middle of like the prime era of freak shows or human novelty exhibitions, as Wikipedia so delicately calls them.
Oh, yes.
So that kind of prime era was sort of 1840 to 1940-ish. So the golden years after suddenly people became nosy and before they realised that it was impolite to be nosy.
Yeah. It's rude to stare.
Yeah, so...
Sorry, I didn't realise that people had worked that out.
Yeah.
As someone who was
They're
regularly
getting there.
gawped at, I feel like that message hasn't quite got through
No,
yet.
maybe we need
quite possibly.
maybe we need to restart the marketing campaign again.
Public service announcement. Mind your own fucking business.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, so P.T. Barnum,
yeah.
our
Friends to
our
disabled
great,
people
terrible
everywhere.
friend,
Yeah.
So he bought his first premises in 1841. So like right at the beginning of this
Yeah.
prime time. So Sam Torr was a music hall artist, originally from Nottingham.
Right.
He retired to Leicester to set up his own music hall.
Right.
Joseph Merrick knew him from around the town, from growing up, and also knew that he went in for novelties.
Okay.
It's a nice quote.
Yeah. So Joseph tracked him down and asked for his help to find work as a human exhibit.
Right. So he wanted
Wow.
it. He wanted it. He wanted to do it.
He actively went and sought this out.
That's interesting.
So this Sam Torr guy found a group of 3 men to act as a manager, touring around different parts of the East Midlands as the Elephant Man. So he was always known as the Elephant Man from his sort of
That's
first
like a stage
little
name.
tester exhibits.
Yeah.
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 And I guess if you genuinely believe that this had been caused by elephant, why would you call yourself
Right,
anything
exactly,
else?
yeah.
I was going to say it feels like, particularly if he is the one who is making these approaches to start, that he's bringing that. It's not that people are calling him the Elephant Man. He has come and said, I'm the Elephant Man.
It's like him leaning into
Basically,
it, really.
Yeah, he's got a good sense
Interesting.
of branding about him.
Yeah.
And it's quite accepting, really, self-accepting of, yeah, I look like this, and yes, there is an element of me looking slightly like an elephant, you know?
I guess the thing that I would say that's kind of like quite powerful about it is recognizing the inaccessibility of the world that he has lived in, which
Yeah.
we've already heard about with his difficulties with getting jobs and the not getting it, feeling accepted by his family and stuff. He has said, I need to find a way to support myself, and this is one way that I feel I can do that works for within the kind of not limited options, but the restrictions and the barriers that are out there for him.
Yeah.
Like nobody's hiring me to be like, I don't know, a video spot checker, because it's not in my skill set, is it?
No.
But but it's kind of recognizing that and going, well, what can I do with what I've got available to me?
Yeah, so yeah, they did some of these shows around the East Midlands, but they realised that London was where the big money
Yeah.
was being made.
Yeah, we're not known for being big spenders up around here.
Yeah, so they contacted a guy called Tom Norman. So Tom Norman was a showman who became interested in so-called freak shows after seeing an exhibition called The Electric Lady. And I looked for ages, but the internet has not kept what that
This
was.
isn't a woman in a bath with magnets again, is it?
No, I don't think so. So I've looked up just kind of like general Electric Lady exhibits, and they all seem to be things like someone puts a massive amount of electricity through their body, like they put a light
Yeah,
bulb
like-
in their mouth
right.
and setting a massive electric
Yeah.
current through themselves and
Bit
the light
like
bulb.
static with a balloon when you rub it.
Kind of, except you might die.
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking. Yeah,
It's a lot of balloons.
like if the electricity doesn't get you, then the exploding light bulb in your mouth will probably do it.
Yeah. It's a good
Yeah,
name
so-
though, isn't it? Electric Lady.
Yeah. So I don't know for sure that that's what it was, but they wouldn't give me any further information, so I have to assume
Yeah.
that it was something like that.
Yeah.
So Tom Norman took on Joseph and found an old shop that used to be a greengrocer's
Right.
and exhibited him in the back of that. People were like enticed in from the street with the comment from Norman that he was not here to frighten you, but to enlighten you,
Okay.
Interesting.
which is nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting, Brandon.
Yeah, but the main money in this venture was made from selling the autobiographical pamphlet that I was reading
yeah,
from
yeah.
originally. So that was the thing that had his
In his own words.
childhood and history. And it just so happened that the shop was across the road from the London hospital. So it got a lot of visits from curious medical students and young doctors.
Of course it did.
And this was how Joseph came to be introduced to Frederick Treve.
I feel like thunderclap
Yeah.
moment.
Frederick Treve is played by oh my god, what's his name? Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins in the
You
film.
mean Hannibal Lecter?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the vibe I'm feeling.
Yeah.
This might be a good time to mention that I have not seen the film.
Have you not?
No. I'm sorry. If I thought about it, I probably could have watched it in preparation for this, but it just sounded like a general all-round bad time.
Yeah.
So I didn't really fancy it.
I did get very cross and was shouting a few times. Like, don't pick on him. Stop picking on him. Stop staring at him. And then I cried. Of course I did. You know, cry everything. But yeah, it's a very roller coaster of a watch.
I don't know necessarily whether I'd say that you're missing out
No.
massively, Daisy.
It's quite
You
depressing.
know, if you go to your grave having not seen it, don't think it's going to be the one thing you're really regretting.
No. Well, that's good to know. I'll add this to the list of things not to regret on my deathbed.
Because John Hurt played John Merrick in the film. And where at the time everybody was like, oh, you know, the prosthetics are brilliant and stuff.
Did he win an Oscar for it?
Somebody did. I don't know whether it was Anthony
From-
Hopkins
Or was the
From my
director?
searching, there was quite a lot of Oscars, I think.
Yeah, but because I think it was 1980, the film.
Yeah, because we talked about this, didn't we, when we did Nadex? Because I was like, I honestly would have thought, I thought that movie was 1941.
Well, you know why
Like,
though, don't you? Because it's all black and white.
it's black and white, but it also has a really shitty attitude towards disabled people vibe about it, and so
Yeah.
you just think, you
Well,
know,
are they going
that
from
was the
source
before
ma-
times,
Are they going from the source material
or are they going from that's just actually how people feel about disabled people?
in
and-
1980,
yeah.
or controversially, modern day?
Controversially / the premise of this entire podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, Treve was kind of invited over by one of the student doctors.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, you wouldn't believe this guy who's over there.
Yeah, go and have a look.
Yeah, basically. And Treve said he was the most disgusting specimen of humanity that I had ever seen. At no time had I met with such a degraded or
man.
perverted version of a human being as this lone figure displayed. In my notes I've written that's just rude.
It's just rude. Cheers, mate.
Very, very rude.
I just like I could understand if, you know, we'd spent the last 25 minutes talking about Fred and Rose West, but but like Joseph Merrick seems all right, working kind of hard, facing some challenges, kind of your average dude.
Trying to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
so
Right, Fred. Oh, it's another Fred. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
No offense to any Freds listening.
my mum's partner's called Fred. He's lovely.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. Shout out to Fred. He fixed so many things in my kitchen. So Joseph agreed to be examined at the hospital.
Yeah.
And so after they built him some kind of ridiculous disguise so that nobody would recoil in horror in the street, he was driven over in a cab. The disguise involved like a big cloak and a hat and a sack.
I could understand if he'd been like, no, we're charging people a penny to come and see you in a back room. Nobody's getting a look for free. But yeah, I think it's probably more the other one.
Yeah, but they also said it was across the road, and then they had to get him I'm sure with the disguise you could have managed to walk him there, but I'm guessing they must just be being hyperbolic in how far it is.
Yeah, in the film, his disguise that he walks around in is like basically a sack. It's like basically a sheet wrapped around him, trying to hide his disfigurement.
And no one's like, hey, look at that sack, man.
No. Exactly, yeah.
Like it's not the most incognito, is it? You could be.
Wrap him in a bed sheet and just hope for the best.
Put a hat on him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was examined a few times in the hospital. He was given photographs of himself that were taken that he used as part of like his biography in some of his exhibitions. But yes, according to quite a lot of the sort of more contemporary media, Treve was like the kind doctor who saved this poor man from being exploited. But there's plenty of evidence that seems that he felt much more exploited by the hospital than by like his exhibit managers. So he refused to keep being examined in the hospital, saying he was stripped naked and felt like an animal in a cattle market, which does sort of make sense given, you know, like 2 lines later in the Wikipedia page it describes his scrotum.
Right, nice.
In like, you know, more detail than is really necessary.
Do you remember when we talked about Samuel Johnson and all of a sudden we ended up talking about his scrotum? Do you remember that?
No.
Because he had scrofula and apparently he used to have to inject himself in his scrotum.
Ooh.
Yeah. Is that the only available
choose to
bit
do
of
that?
body part? Why was he? Yeah. Yeah, just do it there. Just do it. Just put it in there.
This is what True described, is that medically his penis and scrotum were unremarkable. Which, again, rude.
Okay. Yeah, very rude. Yes. Like... You don't look at Joseph Merrick and think, he must be...
No, you see, I would challenge that. I would say that 97% of men have looked at Joseph Merrick and gone, I wonder what his knob is like.
I bet it's the size of a sausage roll. That's not me thinking. That's like men. Obviously. I'm not
No,
thinking...
again, no offence to men listening.
Can we carry on before I dig myself a hole that I can't get out of?
So, yeah, the police and the local authority were starting to get, like, wise to these exhibitions, and they didn't really approve of them and started showing up to close them down. So they decided to take Joseph to Europe in the hope that authorities there wouldn't be as bothered and would leave them be. As it turned out, they were just as concerned about it as anyone else.
Good to hear that, you know, that generally across England and Europe, we were like, hey, let's not use people as circus animals.
The thing is, I don't know whether that's why they would have disapproved or whether it's more just that there is some money being made.
Yeah, you should be paying a license for this.
Yeah. So, yeah, he wound up being abandoned in Brussels by the manager who was supposed to be taking him around there.
Well, what happened to that manager? Did you just think, sod it?
I mean,
yeah, must have done. It must have been too risky to keep being bothered by police and authorities.
Yeah.
But he took the money as well
of course
when he left. So Joseph had a very long trip trying to get back to England. He was sent away from one port because they didn't want him scaring
I was
the
going to say, it's
customers.
not like you can walk home from there.
They sent him
so
away.
He got
famously.
He got a train to the coast and tried for a few ferries.
Ports.
Yeah, it has vibes of like interrailing, but less fun.
Yeah.
So he eventually got back on a ferry that went from Antwerp to Essex, which I'm guessing is not a route that runs currently, because it's not one I've heard of.
I was going to say.
And from there he got a train to Liverpool Street Station and wound up back in London.
Right. And then what did he do when he was back in London?
Well, he didn't have anywhere to go.
No.
I was just going to say that because he didn't, he had been sent down there with his
Do you
management.
know what I would have
hadn't he?
done? I'd have gone back to the greengrocer shop and just lived in there.
So he was asking like police and passers-by for advice, but they couldn't understand him.
No.
It hasn't specified, but I'm guessing by this point, the growth in his face had maybe come back somewhat, and so it was much harder again to be understood. But he did have on his person a business card of Frederick Treve, the doctor. So he wound up back at the hospital.
Where was Frederick Treve all this time? Was he still in the hospital?
No,
Yeah, he was just being a doctor.
upsetting his other unwilling patients, probably. Making comments about their sexual organs.
But yeah, so I mean, Joseph was ill when he got back, in fairness.
Yeah,
So he was treated for like bronchitis and things like that.
I mean, yeah, he's walked back from Belgium,
Yeah.
so he's not doing great.
Yeah, but then he was put into isolation in the attic of the hospital.
Yeah, here we go.
So
Was he put in
This meant-
isolation because they didn't want to scare folk?
it's hard to say,
Yeah.
but it seems likely because later on he there's mention of him like going for walks around the hospital and nurses quickly ushering him back so that he doesn't worry
For
anybody.
goodness sake.
But Joseph living in the attic meant that Treve was finally able to do the proper examination that he had been prevented from doing by all of that silly nonsense, like a lack of consent.
Yes, as him not wanting to, yeah.
Yeah, but his kind of long-term living arrangements were really up for debate. Like, the hospital bosses didn't think it was best for him to be in hospital forever. Because aside from anything else, that's a very expensive thing for a hospital to do.
Yeah, of course it is.
But there was no kind of real alternative. They raised funds from a lot of like members of high society and things so that they could afford to keep him at the hospital.
Yeah.
And he was moved from the attic to the basement.
So he's
so
gone
still
upstairs, downstairs.
Still very hidden, but at least it was
More accessible for wealthy members of the public to come and look at him before they give some money.
It was space that was kind of could be made suited more to him. So he had like his own furniture and
Oh, so it's like a little flat.
books and
basically.
items and
Yeah,
things. Yeah. Rather than, because I'm guessing if this is the isolation wards upstairs, then normally that would be used for very infectious diseases, and they would kind of need the ability to put people up their back, ideally.
Yeah.
But so doctors still came in to have a look at him a lot. But now a lot of these members of high society wanted to come and look too. By this point, Treve had realised that he didn't actually have any, learning disability or, cognitive issue, as he had assumed that he had this entire time. Just that it was hard to understand him because, his facial growths
Facial
obscured
differences,
his
yeah.
mouth and speaking ability. So he'd spent time with him, and many of these visiting rich people would sort of talk to him and chat with him, which is kind of, more interaction than he would normally get. Because, while they saw him as kind of a curiosity and an oddity, at least, they were curious in the oddity enough to, stay for half an hour and talk about books.
And that might give him a little bit of social stimulation, but also might help challenge their perceptions about people with those kind of disabilities. We've got to try and look for a silver lining.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this idea, because, so he went from he went into workhouse relatively young and was there for a long time. He'd sort of been segregated his entire life, particularly from women. Again, some of the biographies go really intensely on, and then the doctor invited a woman to talk to him. And isn't it delightful that now there's a woman talking to him? It's really strange.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I get it. He's he's a man and probably, would have liked to have a relationship at some point. Like, stop acting like you've done him a great act of charity by bringing a woman nearby.
He's not sort of like some kind of sexually depraved, like, how it's shocking that they would even be considering to bring a woman in to speak.
And similarly, the woman isn't an accessory that's just like
Yeah.
placed in there to accompany him.
Yeah.
It's kind of offensive on all levels, really.
yeah. Everybody except the white, able-bodied, like upper class doctor, male doctor, is pissed off about this whole discussion.
But at least through these various kind of connections, they were able to like arrange a lot of things for him that he probably wouldn't have had access to otherwise. So there was, one particular benefactor who paid for like a tutor to come in and teach him like how to weave baskets, and he made like a lot of paper and cardboard models and things.
So you were gonna say, I thought you were gonna say bird boxes.
It is a little bit like that, but like he did. It's not like origami, but he made like paper animals and stuff, didn't he? I think weirdly I knew that.
I saw a couple of pictures of them. They're pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Particularly considering how like difficult it must have been with his sort of dexterity.
I couldn't do anything like that. My fingers are terrible. I can't even hold a book for more than 5 minutes. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, they also arranged for him to go to a theatre production.
Yeah.
By using one of the rich people's like private boxes, so that he's shielded from the rest of the audience.
But also, it's offensive. But then I can sort of see how I'd appreciate that, because it'd be a bit like, I'm not going to get stared at and bothered. I can just enjoy the show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
double-edged
segregating yourself, isn't it? To be like, I don't want any of these non-disabled people bothering me.
Though, even like as a disabled people nowadays, there are times where you think, I don't want the stares. I don't want the aggro of people.
I would really like to be able to sit down and have a cup of coffee somewhere and not have at least one person ask me if they can talk to my dog.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
So I get it,
Yeah. Yeah, they also managed to arrange him a holiday to the countryside, which involved like a private train carriage.
Wonderful.
Where they would somehow get him onto the carriage so that nobody saw him. And then had an entire carriage to himself, which sounds glorious.
I was going to say it again, like it's super ableist, but then you're also like, you got to see the fucking silver lining sometimes. Like there's not a lot going for being blind, but I'll take a free bus pass.
Yes.
Like
I'll take like being able to queue jump at attractions because I can't walk. That'll do.
Yeah.
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 And the parking's not bad either.
Yeah, parking's not too bad.
Take that.
My husband feels like he's living in a sort of full world of choice at the moment, because we have the blue badge, or we also have parent and child parking.
So you've got full range.
She's like, I could go anywhere. And yet we were at IKEA on a Saturday and we still had to walk a full 4 minutes to get from our parking spot to IKEA.
Bloody hell, how far away were you?
Oh, you sounded so Birmingham.
All right, Deb, how are you?
Just like, it's because we made the mistake of going to IKEA on a Saturday.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is your fault for going on a Saturday. You're on a Tuesday like the rest of us. You take a special day off of work just to go to IKEA.
I hate IKEA. I don't go whenever I can.
Oh,
My husband loves
great.
IKEA. I am very much in the anomaly of people where I don't want to walk through a whole shop of all the things that and see all the things I want to buy and then have to go and find the box with numbers that I can't see.
The last time
with the thing I want to buy.
The last time I went, meatballs. The last time I went to IKEA, I had to walk like the wrong way round IKEA because the lift at the top of the shop where you come in wasn't working, so I had to walk.
They don't like it when you do that.
Yeah, and it was stressful because everybody was coming at me, and I was like, I don't know, I want to go home. Please, can I go home? Please.
They do have good soft toys in the kids'
yes,
section.
they do.
I got a cuddly toy rat from there once.
Yeah,
Awesome.
why is it always a rat or a mouse?
We just went through on Saturday, and my little boy full on could not decide, and twice my husband had to go back and return the animal that he had picked to. We now have Norrig, the pig.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Anyway, Joseph Merrick.
Sponsored
With
by
DJ Uncle
IKEA.
Skog. DJ Uncle Skog is a big snake.
I see.
You could put your hand in his mouth and go. It's pretty cool.
Anyway, Joseph Merrick.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of mismatched now, but one of the people who often, well, not often, came to meet him and sent a Christmas card every year was, at that time, the Princess of Wales.
Yes. Now this was in the
Later
film.
became the Queen.
Yeah. Really? That wasn't in the film, but yeah, it was a royal that came to see him and took him to the theatre and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know whether it was her that took him to the theatre in real life, but in the film it was very neatly packaged as.
Is she one of the ones that married a cousin, and that's how she managed to be both Princess of Wales and Queen?
No, so it was later on that she became Queen.
Yeah,
because
you
the Prince
become
and Princess of Wales are typically the direct heir.
Yeah.
I don't care enough to remember that sort of thing.
It was
Edward.
Edward the Sixth?
I thought
Seventh.
Seventh.
Isn't seventh the one that abdicated?
No.
Or was that eighth?
Hang on, I'm going
that-
to scroll
Edward
a
the
really long
Seventh
way
didn't-
to find this.
Edward the Seventh didn't abdicate, I don't think.
Is it Edward? Was it Edward the Eighth
Yes.
that was the one?
With
that...
Wallace Simpson,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I think.
It was a wife of Edward the Seventh, Alexandra of Denmark.
So it was Edward the Eighth that abdicated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Right, where was I?
So she came to visit.
Friends with the princess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they'd come to like open a new wing of the hospital, and while they were there, she was like, "I would
Can I
like
go
to meet your oddity." Basically,
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While I'm here,
and she went down, and apparently they had a nice chat. She gave him a signed photograph, and also sent Christmas cards every year.
nice.
So
Nice.
yeah,
You know what? I think he probably would have preferred like his own home and like support staff. But sure.
yeah,
A nice chat and a Christmas card. It's also very kind of her.
yeah, definitely. There's lots of kind of a sense that like after that he really wanted to be independent. He always did, and I'll go into it a little bit in a second. That kind of, paternalistic caring for attitude and all of that. But yes, in these years in hospital, he became less kind of well. His growths were kind of massively increasing in size, and there was sort of nothing really that anyone could do about that, as far as they could tell. By this point, doing kind of an operation to cut bits off was incredibly risky, and realistically, it was just going to grow back again. And so he was needing much more nursing care, needing much more help to kind of do everything. So he was only 27 when he died. Was found dead in his bed on the 11th of April.
Oh.
So it was determined to be an accidental death because he was lying on his back.
Okay.
And so it was thought that, he maybe died in his sleep, as it were.
Yeah.
But previously, he'd always sat upright with his head kind of supported on his knees.
On his knees? Jeez.
Yeah. It's
not-
kind of like a sort of almost, I guess, curled up.
Like a
kind
fetal
of way.
position. Almost.
Yeah, but upright.
propped
Yeah.
in an upright position. Oh,
That's not comfortable.
Yeah, basically. And as it turned out, the death was probably caused by a dislocated neck. Originally, they thought it was like asphyxiation just from
Yeah, like...
lying on his back, but many people, some people have speculated, and Tom Norman in particular, his sort of main manager who took him on the exhibits to the greengrocers, speculated that it was quite possibly a deliberate act on his part because he knew what the consequences would be of lying on his back like that.
That's what makes that in the film. So basically, he becomes friends with the princess. The princess then takes him to the theatre because he said, I've always wanted to go to the theatre. And then he comes back and decides he doesn't want to live anymore. And then the film just ends like that. So it definitely plays to that trope of he decided like this was his choice. But like you say, whether it was or not, whether it was accidental, will always remain to be seen, won't it, really?
Yeah, so in Treve the Doctor's book, he suggested that he had decided to sleep on his back to experience what it was like for like normal people to sleep on their back, which
that's
is a
heartbreaking.
very strange assumption.
Yeah,
particularly because this was like mid-afternoon, so it's not like typical sleeping time.
No, it's
but, like people can have naps if they want. Like
but you wouldn't.
by
You
all
wouldn't
means.
necessarily.
no
You
judgment
wouldn't
here.
necessarily have a nap and think, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lie on my back and see what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, mostly if someone's going for a nap, it's because they need a
Yeah.
nap. It's not like now is the ideal time to experiment with my sleeping style.
I mean, I don't know. I guess if you've been in a basement for that long, there's not much else
Maybe.
to do. It's like, well, I've made that little model of Westminster Abbey, and I've weaved a basket. I guess I'll lie down now on my back and see what that's like.
I suppose.
I don't know why that did, but it really did. I'll see what it's like lying on my back.
I suppose if he did know that the risks of that, then it's.
I mean,
he's not gonna go. Oh, like sure. I've heard that heroin is supposed to be a great time, but I'm not
No,
like,
you're not.
you know what I'm going to do? It's a Tuesday. I've got nothing on. Like, it's a decision that you make.
yeah, there is part of me that does think to myself, it may have been like accidental, because if he's like sleeping in that fetal upright weird position, and then his body just goes back.
I mean, it doesn't sound like from how Daisy described it that you could sort of, accidentally slide out of that position and end up on your back in bed. You could fall out of bed, but
could your head go backwards of its own accord if you've got your head on your knees?
I'd have thought if your head is resting on your knees, you're more likely for your
to go forward.
legs to straighten and you to go forward.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that this was like up against a wall, but that there was nothing that specifically said that. But
did they ever get to the bottom of what his sort of like skin condition was, or not really?
No, not quite. So I've got a bit on that. In a second. So Treve mourned his good friend by immediately making plaster casts of his body, taking skin samples, dissecting him, and mounting his skeleton.
Yeah. Nice one, fella.
Yeah, I mean,
Adam, when I'm dead, please don't do that to me. Like, it doesn't
Never
feel
mind
like that's
asking
how
Adam.
I want the
won't
world
let it
to
happen.
remember
I won't let it
me.
happen. Can we just make a pact that if like any of us sort of
I mean, I'm all for donating my body to science,
like giving
but
organs
I don't
and
think.
stuff that work, fair enough. But
Well, and also I'm consenting to something like that. I don't know whether
Yeah, exactly.
Merrick was. You know what, mate? I'm having a really rough time at the minute, so I've actually made the difficult decision to end my life. But you know when I'm done,
Slice everything
make
up.
sure you get some moulds of my face.
Like a death mask situation, was it, Daisy?
I don't think no. Death masks are a mark of like mourning and respect and remembrance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like something that you can keep to be like, oh yes, I remember this person. This was
Yeah.
medical
Look,
curiosity.
look at his face, even though he's gone. Look at his
when
face.
I was- When I was doing the research for the film, I did come across a fact that I don't know whether it was real or not, but Michael Jackson tried to buy the Elephant Man's skeleton for like £1 million.
Isn't it in what's the hospital
There
that's
is, yeah,
got all
it's on
the
display somewhere.
Horniman or something? That's the museum that's got all of the quote unquote medical curiosities in it. I forget what it's called. I apologise if it's not the Horniman.
It's definitely somewhere. Hang on, where was it? It's at Queen Mary University
There you
now.
go.
Does he have skeletal differences? Like, because you know the growths and stuff on his face. It wasn't bones growth, was it? It was muscular
So there are significant skeletal
differences. Right.
differences. There is a photo of it taken like in the 80s where there is clearly like some significant like bone difference, but not like the full amount of what you see. So, I mean, none of this kind of preservation stuff was a surprise to Joseph.
No.
He knew this was going to happen. So there are medical students who say that he used to talk freely of how he would look in a huge bottle of alcohol.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, what it actually was is still unknown, and like realistically, it'll probably remain unknown at this point.
Yeah.
Like, they've still got access to like, you know, the skeleton and things, and they've done various tests. It seems unlikely at this point that they're going to get any more information than what they already have.
And do we know of anybody with a similar type of condition anywhere? Or...
So for a long time, I think the common conception was that it was a form of like neurofibromatosis. So that kind of almost like a benign tumour growth that kind of pops up everywhere. But I still thought that was what it was until recently. I didn't realise there was
No, I thought that until we hit record.
I didn't realise that there was a you know,
that we didn't
an
actually
argument
know
about it until then. But supposedly, according to like, you know, medics and scientists things, aside from it looking sort of similar, there are basically no other similarities. Like none of the things that you would expect to come across in neurofibromatosis really happen.
That's so
in
interesting,
this.
isn't it?
So the current best suggestion is something called Proteus syndrome,
Right.
which is very rare and causes kind of tissue overgrowth, but just sort of like all kinds of
Everything.
tissue overgrowth all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's strange because if you look this up, the pictures that you will see of like real people, which makes me uncomfortable looking at these people who are you know, sadly no longer with us, particularly if you go on the Wikipedia page, the only picture is a picture of a child who has since died, which wasn't, you know, I disapprove on moral grounds of, you know, having someone's full face and all of that, but yeah, if you look at those sort of photos, it doesn't look all that similar, but supposedly the
symptoms
kind of the underlying like how they work makes more sense.
Right.
There are also some people who think that it could well be a bit of both, so it could be sort of like a relatively mild form of neurofibromatosis that kind of like made the skin look unusual in an existing case of Proteus syndrome, if that makes sense.
So it's a bit like a conditions on top of conditions on top of conditions.
Yeah, that's the suggestion. Although, as I said, it seems likely that we'll never really know at this point. You know, unless there's kind of like a new a new disease is found,
Discovered,
or like either a new disease is discovered, or like a new way of testing for a specific disease is discovered, which they can then go back to,
because I would imagine,
you know,
like,
say
even,
the skeleton or some of the samples.
Or time travel.
Or time
Yeah.
travel.
Still got a lot of money on time
Yes,
travel.
so
personally.
the skeleton still exists, but most of the other
Like the skin and
samples
stuff.
were most of those were destroyed during bombing in the
Testing
Second
or
World
stuff.
War. It was, I think.
Oh, okay.
So the skeleton still exists at the
St Mary's
medical department of that university. It's not on public display.
No.
But it's in like a private viewing room that, you know, students can go and look at. But
We
I think
said
they have to
this,
have a good
didn't
reason.
Yeah.
When we recorded the different man thing, we said we should start a campaign to just give him a burial.
Yeah,
Like,
because
how much use is it for
people to see bone
students to see his skeleton still, other than just morbid curiosity?
when there's been
so
plenty of photos and things taken. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's been quite a common trait, particularly as it was said that he was like a fairly religious man, and so his it sounds really unpleasant. His soft tissue was buried in a
a
Christian graveyard.
Oh.
But I think there are plenty of people who think that, you know, the
Everything.
skeleton should
Reunite his
also
skeleton.
Yeah. I think
go
that's
in the same place.
Yeah.
It's you know, he's been, I mean, what did you say, 1862 he was born, he died at 27, so he's been dead 150 years. Just let him rest now. Like, do we still need to be gawping at this
It's
man?
the same time. It's the same length of time that Jane Austen's been dead at the point of recording. 150 years is the 150th anniversary of Jane Austen's death this year.
So
So
very random
yeah,
fact.
I don't know why that's popped into my head, but you think of how well respected and well thought of people like Jane Austen are, and then you think of how
That was going to be sort of my question, Daisy. Is obviously we've got that pamphlet, but is there anything else? Like, do we have any more of kind of Joseph's own words and his own kind of thoughts on his life and what was?
Yeah, not many. So most of the contemporary sort of films, plays, things describing his life come from two different biographies. One by Frederick Treve, the doctor, and one by Tom Norman, the
Both men who profited from him and his difference.
both men who profited with them and came off badly in each other's books.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, it wasn't my fault. He's the bad guy, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were. They probably accused each other of exploiting him for different
Absolutely.
reasons.
Essentially, yeah. It seems that, you know, in some things the exhibition managers were evil and exploitative, and Treve was the kind and lovely
Man.
person who brought him on. But some people think that, you know, he was just as exploitative.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, if Treve was only kind and nice to him when he could see the value of his difference. And by value of his difference, I mean monetary value, not...
Yeah. Or value to kind of medical
Yeah,
science.
exactly, yeah.
I think that's probably accurate for both men. I think neither of those men particularly had Joseph's best interests at heart, or certainly, you know, cared about him as an individual rather than like a commodity.
It's a very sad story, I think. I think just, you know, the film in itself, as a piece of art, is very sad. But then when you dig deeper into Joseph Merrick and his actual story, you realise just how awful it is, really. You know?
And that was my thing with a different man, was that Joseph Merrick was exploited his whole life. People were just like, hey, look at him over there, look at him.
Ugh.
And that was the vibe I got from A Different Man. Like, there was this look at him when Sebastian Stan was, did have facial differences. And then as soon as they went away, it was like he was sad because people weren't looking at him anymore. And it's as if it paints this idea that disabled people want to be freak shows. We want people to look at us and look at our bodies and be exploited for our differences, not just seen as like everybody else.
Yeah, it's interesting when you read some of it, the sections of biographies where they're talking about kind of the attitudes that people had towards him, and there's loads of just kind of like single line accounts from things like hospital porters and someone who worked in the fields at the place where he went on his countryside holiday, who all just say, "Oh, he's a perfectly nice man." Yeah. And it's it's for the most part, individuals don't mind too much. It's people will just kind of accept something that's a bit different for the most part. Like,
it's society as kind of the machine.
Yeah,
it goes, you're different. I mean, I would hope that I am remembered not just as Lucy, the one in the wheelchair, or Lucy with the disability, but as Lucy, as she was fun to be around and she was kind and that kind. Like, I'd rather be known for my personality rather than my difference. But I know that my difference is intrinsically tied to how people remember me. Do you know what I mean? It's does make you think, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. I kind of thought this for a long time. I thought like the thing that people remembered about me was weird trousers and my crutches. And then I was talking to one of my friends who I've known for at this point probably 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, how long have you had those crutches?" I was like, "Oh, these ones, or no?" She's like, "No, it's just crutches in particular."
In general.
I was like, "Since I was 17."
What
She was
a
like,
long
"Wait,
time.
really?"
Really?
She seemed genuinely surprised that I'd been using them for that
It's
that
amazing.
long. I was like, "But I mean, in fairness, most of the time when we see each other, we're sitting down."
Yeah.
But that was wild to me that this was someone that I've known for this long who apparently has just never noticed.
Yeah.
I think she thought I used a walking stick.
Okay.
I could understand if that conversation was with me.
Yeah.
Because noticing thing, again, it's not really in my skill set. But
Well, I think it does us good sometimes to like hear what other people think of you, because I think sometimes most of the time I will think to myself the most like sticky out thing, and by sticky out thing I mean memorable thing about me is the fact I'm in a wheelchair. But if you asked other people, I don't know how like common that would be. Like it's a thing that is part of me, but I don't know how common that would be. The most like first thing you talk about. It's just, it sometimes boggles my mind a little bit.
I think that society, like, it's funny, the things you see a lot of in the news is that there's a lot of people complaining about other groups within kind of societies and communities. But I think as a race, humanity generally quite likes to label people, particularly if it means that you're different and so you're the problem.
Nothing to do with me.
We like a label, and I'm all here for self-identification and diversity and things like that. But you can also see the kind of the challenges of people sort of being wanting to be defined by different elements of what is actually a very, very complex thing, which is personal identity. But I think I do like that actually most average folk weren't afraid of Joseph Merrick.
No,
like,
yes.
you know, the idea that he was being disguised to get to the hospital so that he didn't strike fear into people. Actually, like, I imagine, you know, when he was hawking, he probably wasn't like, you know, terrifying people.
No.
But if, you know, somebody arrives on your doorstep, they don't look the way you expect people to look, and you then are struggling to communicate with them, that's gonna sort of turn you away. But
yeah,
like,
you do.
if somebody tries to sell me something at my door, I hide in my house and don't open the door. Is that not the sole reason that ring doorbells
We've
are
got a
invented?
ring doorbell and I never answer it. I'm like, I'm not answering that. The ring doorbell has been installed for me so that I can answer the door when I'm home on my own, and I never answer it because I'm like, I don't want to.
There's no one here. Go away.
Please,
Yeah.
go away. But yeah, it's fascinating. Thank you, Daisy, for that. That's I think that's going to be a really fascinating episode once it's all put together. Yeah, it's rounded off our exploration into an elephant, a man, and physical differences very nicely, I think.
Yeah. Thank you,
Daisy.
We are obviously now going to be dropping a different episode for you every week for the next few weeks. So stick around, keep listening. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with your friends. You can like and subscribe on social media and on podcast players. And Lucy's going to tell you about where you can donate to us, aren't you, Lucy?
Yes, we have a brand new GoFundMe available. This will help with the running costs of lABLEd Podcast. We are a completely independent podcast. So if you have a bit of spare change, you can head over to a GoFundMe page on our website, which is labelledpodcast.co.uk. And there also you will be able to subscribe to our bonus content newsletter, where you'll be able to hear our episode that was recorded live at NADEX earlier this year about the Elephant Man and a different man. So that'll be very interesting. If I do say so myself.
And there's a bonus episode coming with every single episode of the main feed for the rest of this season. Yeah. So you are fully missing out on stuff if you don't go and sign up. So I think that's it from us. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Shh. Don't wake Dora. Thanks for listening to the lABLEd Podcast. If you like the show, you can rate, review and subscribe, and you can follow us on social media at lABLEdPod.
This episode was edited by Adam Hall. Our music was by Maisie Crunden, and we'd like to thank the rest of the team involved.